How do you ensure communication in and out of your system also is monitored and you block unnecessary communications? Now, if your server is only serving web content, why do you need SSH enabled? Why do you need email enabled? Why do you need any other thing enabled on your system? The principle of least privilege is important to be applied at any point in time on a server. That is, it means you only set up exactly what is needed on a server, or give someone only the permission they need, nothing else. If they need to do more work, you give them exactly what they need to do those work. And one of the tools you can use on Linux is firewall. Yeah, we have several firewall solutions. You can even get a dedicated server who is going to stand at the entry point to your network to manage communications in and out of your network. But on your Linux operating system, you can set up firewall. We have UFW. I think it's roughly called uncomplicated firewall or something. Then we also have IP tables. IP tables is more complicated. Now, let's look at UFW. It comes installed most times on most Linux operating systems, but you can always install it with apt install UFW. Now, you can allow communication by an application in or out. You can deny the application completely. You can allow communication over a port number, or you can allow using an IP address. In one of the sections we'll be doing later, we'll see modules we'll be doing later. We'll see IP addresses. What does IP address look like? How do you calculate IP addresses and so on? But IP addresses identify your machine, the server or laptop or phone on a network. But on that same device, how do you identify individual services or applications within your system? It's just like, oh, this is old school, the company. They are at this address. Let's say, for example, number 1, so and so street. But once you get there, each offices have their own designation. Oh, the studio here, the offices here, this, there, and there. That's the same thing with your systems. They use what we call port numbers to identify specific sections in the system where communication should go through. Anytime you're accessing google.com, most often it's going to a port 80 or a port 443 on Google server. Most likely 443 because it's going to use HTTPS. We're going to learn more about protocols in a subsequent section. Now you can deny communication by port number, or you can set as many firewall rules as possible, and you can also enable and disable firewall. A point of warning though, when you are testing on your machine or you are practicing this out, make sure not to lock yourself out of your server. Maybe, oh, let me just type UFW deny port 22. Boom, you blocked yourself from SSH. And you cannot log in except you created the server, or some cloud providers, if you're using a cloud provider, will allow you to reboot the server and run some commands on the server to do some things before it starts up. Then that's the only way you can, they usually call it user data. That's the only way you can recover yourself back. So make sure before you enable your firewall, you are not blocking yourself out of the system. Now, let's do some demo. But before heading to the demo, I have provided a lot of further study materials where you can learn more about what we've looked at in this section. Systemd, configuring services, CIS benchmarks. Please pay a lot of attention to them because security and services are extremely important. Every daily usage you are communicating with this using this application, they communicate with services. How do you configure them? How do you make them work? Now, let's head back to my system and see how the firewall works. Now, on my Linux machine, let's try and see UFW. Do we have one? Oh, not enough argument. I think we do. So let's say UFW -- help. Yeah, we have it. So, and as you can see here, we have the commands that you can possibly run: enable, disable, etc. Now let's do man UFW. Let me confirm the full meaning of this thing. Program to for managing a net filter firewall. Oh, they didn't probably say the full name. Okay, maybe I'll go and use Google later. Now, okay, let me quit here. You can allow communications for example, you can say first, oh, I want to UFW list. Sorry, app. I think it's app list. Yeah. Yeah. You want to see which applications are configured on your system, which softwares or services on your system are already allowed in or out of your Linux machine. Now you can do UFW status to see, oh, it's not running, and you can enable or disable at any time. Let's say UFW enable. This may disrupt. This is what I'm telling you. Command may disrupt your SSH connection. Proceed. Let's make sure it doesn't hurt us in the back. Let's allow, let's say UFW, allow port 22. Okay, the rule already exists. So now stand say UFW enable. Yep, firewall is active and enabled on system startup. Now, we can also see more detailed or numbered list of all our firewall rules. We can say UFW status numbered. Now, here you can see to what port. That is, to port 80 on the system, deny in from anywhere. Now, that means any communication coming in from anywhere should be denied. On port 20, any communication coming in from anywhere should be allowed. To anywhere on the system, any communication coming in from 127.0.0.1 should be blocked. Yeah, it's within your system, by the way, so I don't think I see a reason why this is here in the first place. Now, maybe it's one of the configuration I was testing with previously. Now, but we can delete a rule that we think we do no longer need. Let's say UFW delete 3. Yes, come. So let's try. Let's go back in history again. We'll see our rules. Now, let's try to block an IP address for being contacted outside. Now, let's say we do ping 8.8.8.8. This is Google's DNS server. It's fine. It's pinging. It's receiving communication. Now, let's now say Control C. Let's now say UFW deny to deny. Oh, I think it's deny out 8.8.8. Let's see. Yeah, rule added. Let's now try ping again. Something isn't right here. Let's see. Let's check the man pages. UFW. Now here we can do. Let's see rule syntax. Rule syntax. We can say deny from to any. This allow in, allow out. Okay. Now, okay, let's try this again. Deny out. Let's say deny out to. Yep. Ping. Operation not permitted. Now, here it's blocking. Previously, we can ping a server, the Google DNS server, but you don't want your team or your company or your systems to be communicating with anything else outside. You can block communication to the outside world. Now, you can even block communication completely to the outside world. It's dangerous, but let's try it and see. We can say deny out to 0.0.0.0/0. This is going to block everything. So if we say ping, for example, ping google.com, it's not going to ping because you've said UFW deny out to. When we are looking at IP address subsequently later, we will see that 0.0.0.0 represents the network address of the whole internet. So when you now say /0 is what we call a subnet. We'll be talking more about that during IP addresses. So basically what I'm saying here, UFW deny out to 0.0.0.0/0 means your system should not communicate with anybody outside. People can reach it, send information to you, but it should not send anything. Even when, it wants to respond back, nah, nothing is going on. Nothing is going out. Now, you see, even you cannot even ping google.com because it cannot even do name resolution to contact a DNS server and say, this google.com, what is the IP address of it? Now, let's check our rules. UFW, status, numbered. Then we remove this rule that we just added. Now, you see here we are saying deny out to anywhere, that is anywhere, the 0.0.0/0 that we added. Deny to anywhere from anywhere, nothing should go. So let's say UFW delete 4 and delete 4 and UFW delete I think 4 again. Deny out to any. Yes. So now let's say UFW status numbered. Now we've removed the 2 out rules. Now let's do ping google.com. Again, boom, it's now working. Yeah, so this is how you use firewall rules on your system to allow or deny communication in and out of your system. Now, for our exercise for this section is review the CIS benchmark for Ubuntu and try to implement at least 10 of the recommendations that have been made within the benchmark. At least you can do more so that you can practice more, but do at least 10 as your exercise for this section. Thank you and see you in the next section.